Good afternoon. Hello, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic protocol and how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. Retreated again to our den next to the fire because we have a spring. That is, it has sprung, but the weather is still chilly and drizzly. So it feels nice and cozy in here. Anyway, I want to talk today about, and I hope I can communicate this in a way that it makes sense in my mind, but what goes on in here sometimes always doesn't come out of my mouth properly. So the title is Facts of Life on Keto. And what I mean by that, first of all, let me explain how the protocol is as I learned it and how I practice it and have done since 2014. Quick story on me. I was morbidly obese for 30 years, had given up on losing weight. I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, which was pending. I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I found Dr. Eric Westman, his video from Duke University that it was just several years old now, talking about to his clinic patients about how to do this no starch, no sugar diet to control obesity and type 2 diabetes. That was when everything changed. So as I learned it, it is keep your carbohydrate intake 20 grams a day, total carbs, not net, 20 or fewer a day. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. Page 4 being from a handout that Dr. Westman gave out at the time. It was actually like a 6-page document, and the food was listed on page 4. There's a link to an official copyrighted page 4 now. There are a lot of bootleg versions of it out there, so be careful. Be careful what you look at. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satiated. So those are kind of the facts of life on keto. What is not a fact of life? In some programs, mostly the commercial ones, mostly the ones where someone is trying to sell you a program or sell you packaged food or sell you something. The facts of life with that program are often you'll hear words like eat the foods you love, eat anything you want, just do XYZ. Or you can eat any type of food, everything in moderation, and we'll help you figure out how that works. I'm here to tell you, if you are like me, someone who, for health and happiness, I need to follow this protocol. And keep in mind, the protocol, lay off the carbs. It's the protocol. And don't eat if you're not hungry. I can't eat anything I want. I can't eat carbs. It's that simple. Some people, even in the so-called keto, low-carb world, will try to coax you with things like, here, follow this meal plan. It's got just about every type of food you want on it. Just do these tweaks. What is not on the protocol as I follow it? Fake baked goods. So-called keto ice cream. Incorporating carb up days, carb up weeks, carb up meals. That's not part of the protocol. I will say again, as I've said, 1 billion times, do what works for you. We are all different. But if you want the version that works, and this is the way Dr. Westman puts it, the 20 grams a day or fewer of total carbs, not net carbs, and don't eat this, and don't if you're not hungry. That's the prescription strength. If you're really sick, if you're really miserable, if you have chronic conditions and you don't want them anymore, this is the prescription level. If you're someone who I'm just looking to drop a few pounds, or I just want to clean up my act a little bit, do the over-the-counter version. Do what works for you. But if you're like me, and frankly, most people are like me or will be like me, you need to get the prescription strength. Keep the carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. No, I can't eat whatever I want. No, I can't eat whatever quantity I want of the things that are on the list. That would be illogical. Just because ribeye is on the food list does not mean that I need to eat like the old 96er, that scene from In the Woods or Into the Woods or whatever, where John Candy went to this restaurant. If you could eat 96 ounces, which is 6 pounds of steak, you could eat for free and you get your name on the wall. No, I can't eat 6 pounds of ribeye and expect to feel good, for one thing, or maintain my weight. So I've been essentially weight stable for going right on 3 years now. I think it'll be next month. I've been essentially the same weight with some variations because weight fluctuates no matter what you're doing. So within a very tiny range. But if I ate whatever I wanted in whatever quantity I wanted, that would not work for me. Fact of life is you shouldn't eat if you're not hungry, no matter what the clock says. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Fact of keto life is we probably eat more food than we need, just in general. If someone is eating very close to, so I will talk with people. I hear from people that write me, or we'll have coaching sessions, or in our Patreon group. I don't understand. I've been at the same weight for a year, but I'm essentially carnivore. I'm not eating carbs. I'm doing this. People will hang their hat on eating just one time a day, which is fine. I sometimes do that. Sometimes I eat very little on a day, and some days I eat more. It depends on my level of activity and hunger. But if that one time a day you're consuming more fuel than your body requires, you're not going to lose weight. But it's hard to wrap our minds around that. We look at what we eat now compared to what we ate 10 years ago, the quantity, and we say, well, I'm eating so much less. Yes, but maybe it's still more than we need. It might be that almost none of us have any actual idea how much we need to eat because we're on the third generation of eating ad libitum. Whenever we want to eat, we eat. Food's everywhere. It's been ingrained to us, 3 meals a day, 2 snacks, or your body's going to go into starvation mode. If you don't put money, you're going to wreck your metabolism if you go for 3 hours without eating. That's not true. But we've kind of ingrained it. Plus, we want to hear that, right? Eat whatever you want. You must eat 5 times a day. Okay, good. Sign me up. Because we want to hear that. If what you want to hear is how to come off of medications and lose your joint pain and not have to take insulin or any other medications for type 2 diabetes, by the way, if you are taking medications to regulate your blood sugar, you must do, and you're going to, cut way back on your carbs, you must do this under a doctor's supervision because you can actually become hypoglycemic because then the insulin is not needed. So logically, if the insulin drops your blood sugar and cutting carbs drops your blood sugar, which one makes more sense to do? Cut back on carbs and forget the insulin. So there you go. So the facts of life are no. Some people in the keto world may tell you or write things that you want to hear. Yes, you can have this death by chocolate cake and we can make it keto. I don't think so. Not if you need the prescription strength. And the fact of life is, in the keto world, for my world, my life, food should not be the most important thing. We need to step away from the food videos. We need to step away from the Facebook groups that are just strings of food. I've heard from people say, well, it's easy for you to say, but I'm addicted to food. Well, honey, we're all addicted to food. But that's too strong a word. Addicted? You're not going to have withdrawal symptoms and have to be hospitalized if you cut off your substance of choice, which could be carbohydrates. But take that at face value. Someone is addicted to food, and yet they spend all their day staring at computer images and YouTube channels and Facebook groups that are all about food. You don't tell a heroin addict, let's keep on looking at people shooting up. No. If someone is truly addicted, you need to remove the substance from your life. Correct? So I am not going to try to say something just because it's what someone wants to hear. There's nothing especially noble about me. I just don't think that's the right thing to do. If you want to hear what you want to hear, go with Weight Watchers. You can list them off. And I never tried Weight Watchers. I'm too frugal. But I tried lots of things. The move more, eat less, here, do this, food pyramid, 60% of this. I had a spreadsheet that calculated out my METs, my BMR, my BMI, my caloric intake, my caloric output, and the percentage of the macronutrients of all the food I ate. I had all that before MyFitnessPal existed. I actually did that before most apps existed. It didn't work. For me, I needed to become a fat burner. When we reduce our carbohydrate intake sufficiently, our liver stops pushing out glucose. A couple of things happen then. That means our pancreas does not need to shoot out insulin to regulate the blood glucose, to keep it stabilized. So that's a good thing. So we don't have insulin spikes and drops. But when you cut off the glucose supply, our system happily turns to burning fat for fuel. It's an ideal thing. Our bodies like burning fat for fuel. So until I became a fat burner, thereby my appetite naturally was suppressed. Win-win. Then I started burning. First of all, before I lost any appreciable amount of weight, my joints stopped hurting. It's a very anti-inflammatory way to eat. I've heard from many people who are rolling along, and they kind of, say, oh, I'm just going to have a sandwich with the bread. I'm just going to have that, and that'll be fine. And the next day, their joint pain returns. So not a carb explosion. They just eat something, or too many carbs, just too many carbs. Some people need to return to using their emergency asthma inhalers. And that's not a joke. It's not made up. That's what happens. So if you're someone who wants to hear what you want to hear, figure the source out and do what you want to do. But then remind yourself that you may not get the result that you actually want. If it's more important to have a bowl of chips than it is to come off of medication, then it's just your choice. It's your right. Very topical thing. It's pretty established that the people who are suffering the worst outcomes from COVID-19 are those with diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and smokers, kind of in that order. There is never a better time to get your blood glucose under control. And we can all be willfully ignorant if we wish. Oh, I'm fine. I'm going to continue to take my insulin injection. Just pass the donuts. Because the insulin will fix it. Insulin doesn't fix anything. It masks. So again, I can't eat anything I want. That's not what keto is for me. The fake baked goods, keeping in mind page 4, not only does not have nuts, it doesn't have nut flours on it. There's no MCT oil on it. This is not a diet by which you gorge yourself on butter and sour cream and MCT oil and fat bombs. It's not the presence of the fat, it's the absence of the carbs. Increasing your fat intake does not burn your body fat. That's illogical, right? If we consume by mouth all the fat our body requires for its energy needs, because we are fat burners and so we're burning fat for fuel, it's going to use this first. Don't shy away from fat. Eat the fat that comes with the protein. What does that mean? Get your protein source, whatever it is, poultry, beef, pork, lamb, whatever it is, eat the fat that comes with it. Eat the pork chops with the fat. Eat the bacon with the fat. Eat the poultry with the skin. Eat the ribeye with the fat. Eat chicken thighs with the skin rather than a boneless, skinless chicken breast. Waste of a good chicken. That's what a boneless, skinless chicken breast is to me. So eat that fat. That's what we need. We don't need fat bombs and bulletproof coffee, and we don't need to seek out fat. The other fact of life is you can't just eat with abandon. If you eat 6 pounds of bacon a day, maybe that'll work for you. It would not work for me. Just because we may eat bacon doesn't mean we must gorge on bacon. Just because something is on page 4 does not make it mandatory. And many things on page 4 are limited. Full fat dairy is perfectly fine if you can tolerate dairy, but it's not unlimited. That's a fact of life. You know, mayonnaise should be measured by the teaspoon almost, not by the cup. 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, that's like 14 grams by weight, which is almost nothing, is 100 calories. We don't count calories, but calories count. So if someone's not losing weight and they're burning fat for fuel and they're not overeating dietary fat, perhaps they're just consuming more the amount of fuel that their body needs to maintain their weight, which can be a good thing. You know, so if you're happy with your weight and your size and your physicality and everything else, huzzah, fantastic. Another keto fact of life. It will not fix everything in your world. If you have troubled relationships with friends and family, they may get worse when you start feeling better and looking better and being more mobile and being in control. So it won't fix things. It won't fix everything. It is not magic. It's physiology. It will work for pretty much everyone. But the protocol has to be followed. Keep the carbohydrate intake restricted. Don't eat if you're not hungry, no matter what the clock says. You don't need a clock or an app to tell you what or when to eat. Our bodies are the original app. So now I'm going to take a moment right here to share something. If you've always wanted to attend the Durham support group meeting in Durham, North Carolina with Dr. Westman, he's been graciously hosting these for, I think, 10 years, the first Tuesday of every month. And some of you may have attended some because of the situation. I moderate them with him. We're doing it online. Yay! So I'm going to send you a link. This is a registered event on Crowdcast. It's unlimited spaces. It is registered, and there is a small fee, all the proceeds of which go to Dr. Westman's initiative to try to get face masks for everyone in his community. So it's Masks for All is the initiative. So you can just register, and you can ask questions in advance under the Ask a Question tab. Jackie Eberstein will be there, and so will Amy Berger. So this will be really nice. So I wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to turn my attention to comments. Oh, I get the question every time. Hashtag Casey's Pink Drink. Tall glass. This is really tall glass. Full of ice. Mostly diet tonic water, a splash of diet cranberry juice, and a squeeze of lime. It's very refreshing. A little tart. And it helps me when I'm talking a lot. So let me turn my attention. Oh, also another thing. Below this video should be a string, like t-shirts and things from my Teespring shop. There's a 10% discount going on right now if you decide you want a cup that says coffee with Casey, or I'm stronger than a cookie, or whatever it might be. 10% off. The code is freebie, FREEBIE. That's that. Hey, good morning, Vita. If you guys enjoy public content, thank a patron. My Patreon group is a fantastic group of people, and they make it possible for me to justify doing some things. And just a quick plug for Patreon. With Patreon, you get about 20 videos a month of me, just me, talking, snippets, and about half a dozen patron-only live streams a month, and about half a dozen patron-only video group sessions a month, and monthly one-on-ones with me, depending on your pledge level. So there we go. So, and Judy Tucker, she's a member of the club. Shell, hey, Shell. Lita, ditch the cream. I did that and lost another 10 pounds. You know, again, it's going to be sneaky. We think it's on page 4. I can eat all I want. It's not. That a keto fact of life is that, no, that's not the case. Even if you're not following page 4, let's just think about this. Dairy products, as a rule, are calorically dense. They can be great for us if we can tolerate dairy. I want you to do, if you have a food scale that measures in grams, and if you use mayonnaise, I want you to weigh out a tablespoon by the label's measure, which is about 14 grams, or about half an ounce of mayonnaise. So think of it that way. 2 tablespoons is about an ounce of mayonnaise. Measure it out and see how little it is. So if we were just globbing on mayonnaise on everything and making our egg salad or our chicken salad or our salmon salad, or we just like mayonnaise, that's a lot of calories. And for, ultimately, our fuel intake matters. Same thing with cheese. Cheese is limited to, I think, 2 ounces a day by weight. Not 6 ounces. It's calorically dense. Cream. We use heavy cream in our coffee, my husband and I. We measured out 2 teaspoons per mug. Topping off at 3 mugs, that's a max, because that's 2 tablespoons of cream a day. Laura writes, hey, Casey, I've lost 7 pounds. Congratulations. Okay, let me adjust myself here. I'm standing up. Okay. Alrighty. Is everyone well? Let's ask that question first. Is everyone safe and well? Is anyone going a little stark raving mad with the physical isolation? We are well here, in case anyone is wondering. My husband and I, we are very fortunate. We're just very fortunate. We have plenty of supplies. We've got 16 chickens, so we get between 13 and 15 eggs a day as a rule. Debbie writes, all is good. Another patron, thank you. Daphne Garza, hello from Madrid. Hola. We don't need a car. We don't need something in this quarantine. ¿Cómo está Daphne? From Madrid. I may never leave the house again, writes Shell. And Judy writes, all well at Tucker's Farm, Hopkinton, Iowa. Judy's a patron, and she describes her farm. And it's calving season. And she's got a pond with geese. And what an idyllic way to be. Hey, Nance from Washington, hit a new low this morning. Nance, that's great. 159. That's a 41-pound drop in weight loss. Yay me, yay you, Nance. That's fantastic. Carbs. Okay, yeah. We don't have many carbs in our house at all. We have very few vegetables. Most of those are frozen. But because this food, that if you follow the protocol, is so nutrient dense, a little bit goes a long way. If you are fueling yourself with carbs, Even if if people want to call them healthy carbs, that's another thing people want to hear. Oh, it's a healthy carb. What does that mean? Carbs are not essential at all to humans. So, if you are living, imagine if you're a vegetarian and you have to keep fueling yourself, and the vegetables, you have to keep restocking them, and they might become hard to get by. We can live for, I don't know how long we could live with the food we have on hand. Laura Woods from Tennessee. Guapa. ¿Me? ¿Yo soy guapa? Muchas gracias. Oh gosh, Judy writes that another baby calf this morning. And I know when that happens, you're like on call, right? So did you have to assist in the delivery? Kathleen Sturgis, good afternoon, everyone. Doing well here in Staten Island, New York. Took a long ride this morning. The lines outside the stores were too long to bother going in. I'll try during the week. Think about how, those of you who do have nice sources of protein and healthy things in your freezer just because you have them there, think of the level of anxiety you don't have to deal with, wondering, oh my gosh, I've got to get to the store to get more bread. We've got to get more rice and pasta. Okay, B. Gray writes, I'm concerned about protein shortages. Meat packers in the U.S. having COVID problems. Yes, this is true. And, don't hoard, don't stockpile, don't be mean. There is enough supply. I was actually just hearing a report about this. There's megatonnage of meat in cold storage in the United States. There is a supply. It's the supply chain as far as transportation and the processing. But it can get done, and they'll do it. They'll figure it out. And there are lots and lots and lots of suppliers around. Never a better time, if you can, to source locally, if you have the opportunity to source locally. Doesn't have to be grass-fed, grass-finished. Maybe you just happen to know a farmer. But if not, we'll do with the protein sources we can get. Again, because there's so much nutrition in them, we can go longer with less. Debbie writes, buying a half cow from a local farm. I'll be stocked for months. We've considered doing that. My husband used to work as a meat cutter, so he can portion things, and he will buy full ribeyes and full pork bellies and full whatever else we buy, and he will portion everything, which I really like because he knows how I like them. Veggies haven't been my friend as of late. I hardly eat vegetables anymore. Digestive issues. I can really tell the difference when I consume vegetables. Yeah, and so I just soon pass. I eat kind of so little now as a rule. I don't want to waste it on vegetables. This morning I ate a very hearty first plate of fuel. A third of a pound burger from Angus burger from Costco. I just cooked up in the skillet with a fried egg from one of our chickens. Make sure that is not one of my children. It is not. And a couple of slices of cheese with some, kind of a little bit of mayonnaise. I mean, it was a little bit of no sugar added ketchup, just a little skosh, and a little bit of mustard. So that was calorically dense, and I'm not going to be hungry for a very long time. Cynthia writes, yes, it's the chain, having to change the logistics to get it into the consumers. Don't worry about it. So don't do a run. It'll get straightened out. And one of the things these large companies can do is they can do logistics. They'll figure it out. It's a good lesson for us, though. To stay moderately stocked when we can. Don't stockpile. Not nice to our neighbors. Nance says, bored but safe in Washington State. Cynthia writes, love your broadcast, Casey. Thank you so much for doing these casts. Of course. Nance writes, vegetables? What are those? Debbie writes, Daphne, kids can absolutely follow the protocol. I don't live in regret. There aren't many things about my life I would change if I could go back, because whatever boneheaded things I did or whatever things were done to me, it's gotten me where I am right now, and I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy. But if I knew then what I know now, we would have been a ketogenic household from the get. Babies are born in ketosis. It's the way we're designed to grow. Catherine Avalon writes, Casey, what's your take on aspartame? I love diet tonic also, but gave it up because I believe it may have been causing inflammation, but not sure. Non-sugar sweeteners have gotten a tremendously bad rap. The sugar industry has done an awesome job of vilifying. I don't know why aspartame would cause inflammation, but you could do a test. It's more likely that anything carby is going to cause inflammation. I don't worry about non-sugar sweeteners. Please be careful. Some sweeteners that are very popular now are high in carbs. It's like it's a carb per gram. Look at monk fruit. We use Splenda, powdered Splenda in our coffee. My diet tonic water probably has aspartame in it. Diet cranberry, I don't know that it has anything in it. I don't know. I haven't looked at the ingredients. We like Coke Zero. I like diet ginger ale. So I don't worry about those things. But everyone needs to follow their own bodies. And Dr. Westman says, it's a big distraction talking all about the non-sugar sweeteners, all the controversy. I don't have a gallbladder. Will this make a difference? Nope. It's one I almost can guarantee you at the online Durham support group meeting, which is, when is it? It's a week from Tuesday. It's May 5th. I'm almost sure that someone's going to ask Dr. Westman, I don't have a gallbladder. Can I do this? It comes up all the time. People ask me, and other people here can respond. Someone's going to say, I don't have a gallbladder. No problem. No thyroid. No problem. It can be more challenging for some things. The gallbladder is just, and to my understanding, you don't need to take anything extra. The liver can create the bile that is needed to deal with things. You don't have to supplement, my understanding. Cynthia, you can do this without a gallbladder. Laura Decker from Wisconsin. I learned so much from you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Staying safe in Wisconsin. Hey, Jennifer, I drink Diet Coke. Doesn't affect me. Cynthia writes, gallbladder is just a storage organ. You can still make enzymes that digest fat. That is correct. I love Diet Coke with Splenda. Vita. You can also have a surprise keto baby if you're not careful. Don't forget this can reverse PCOS. Vita, you're not trying to tell us something there, are you, sugar? Vita. Vita. And my husband and I tried lots of non-sugar sweeteners. We both found that, like stevia, bitter aftertaste to us. And then some other things we tried, same thing, it just didn't work. I used xylitol for a while. It actually was the one thing that almost kicked me out of ketosis. I was part of a minuscule study checking that. And they eventually told me, stop taking it because you're going to go out of ketosis after about 11 days. Michelle V, I didn't know you didn't have a gallbladder, Michelle. Don't have a gallbladder, no problems. I'm also off omeprazole, if I'm pronouncing that correct. I have no womb for rent. Ha, 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 ha. Low carb reversed my PCOS. Keto helped me keep the weight off. Like that. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to remind you guys about. I told you about the online support group meeting with Dr. Eric Westman, Jackie Eberstein, and Amy Berger. I put the link in. Let me give you a link again, just in case. And Crowdcast is like a little bit different than YouTube. You can watch it upon after the fact as well. And if people have asked questions under the Ask a Question tab, you can see those questions. And if you're interested in, oh, I want to know the answer to that now, click on it. It'll take you directly to that point in the replay. No, Casey, Vita's not trying to tell us anything. There will be no tall redheaded babies here. Okay. Oh, it'd be our first Patreon baby. Nance writes, hi, Michelle. There is, well, you know what? I will wait and let someone ask a question. I think I've spoke enough about my keto facts of life. Mostly, sometimes we just want to lie to ourselves. On one of my snippets, yesterday, I think, for the patrons, I think it was, we need to give ourselves some grace. That's Michelle and I had a conversation. We need to give ourselves some grace if we have an oops. But we need to give ourselves some grief as well and hold ourselves accountable, because having an oops every 5 days, that's more than an oops. That's pattern of behavior. The good thing about this is that our eating is behavior. It's a physical action, for one thing. And as long as we have control over our physical arms and hands, we can avoid eating the foods that do not serve us well. Can you imagine making the choice to eat carbs, even in a pandemic where it's been proved that you are at higher risk if you have type 2 diabetes? And as Michelle, who is a nurse, says, type 2 diabetes makes people at risk for just about everything, higher risk. It just screws your system up. Type 2 diabetes is a bad thing. So we need to hold ourselves a little bit of accountable. That is a fact of life. That's not just for keto. We need to get a grip. If you only want to do what you want to do, then have at it. But if you really want to make a change in your life for the better, and that change happens to be you want to improve your health, possibly lose some weight, wear cuter clothes, feel better about yourself, get your brain back, get your energy back. If that's what you really want, follow the protocol, even if part of the protocol is not telling you what you want to hear. That's called life. I was talking to my husband about this when I was kind of fielding an idea about what to talk about today. I said, wouldn't it be interesting if someone wanted to get married and they wanted to be married, but what they also wanted to hear was, yes, absolutely, you can be married and you can still sleep with whoever you want. That might be telling somebody what they want to hear, but you're not necessarily going to end up with the goal you wanted, which was to have a happy relationship. People who are polyamorous, that's fine, no judgment there. But if what you want to do is be in a committed relationship, you have to make some decisions. And sometimes there are decisions you don't want to make. But it's to get you where you want to be. That's a fairly dramatic and drastic comparison, but you get what I'm talking about. I want to be head of my department. I don't really want to show up every day and work, but I want to be head of my department. So if you can get me a job where someone say you can be head of the department and you don't have to come in very often and you don't have to pay attention to anything and you don't have to work, then you're going to be looking for a job for a long time. If you want an eating program where you can eat anything you want, please do so. Just don't be surprised if you don't get the result you want. All right, friends. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. I will see some of you, our patrons, I'll be seeing some of you. And I I hope you will stay safe. The protocol is direct. It is quite simple. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net. Net carbs just means eating more carbs. Eat fatty sources of protein. Do not eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satiated. All that being said, it is simple, which is not the same as easy. We have to exercise some thought into this and help each other out. Okay? Thanks. And hopefully one of these days it will not still be kind of winter around here. And I'll have the fire turned off. And we're trying to figure out a way for me to broadcast from the back garden so you can see my pond in the background. Lighting is an issue. Thanks. Everyone be safe. Peace. Ciao for now.